Don't chase respect. Become the man who commands it. Welcome to Ancient Stoic Secrets, the place where modern men come to reclaim timeless strength. Here, we don't chase attention. We embody power. And today, we're diving deep into something every high-value man must master: respect. Respect isn't something you ask for. It's something you radiate. Some men walk into a room and shift its energy without a word, not because they're loud, but because they live with unwavering clarity. That clarity, it comes from boundaries. The quiet lines you draw that say, "This is who I am, this is what I tolerate, and this is where I walk away." The Stoics knew this. True strength isn't found in trying to win others. It's found in mastering yourself. But today, too many men trade their self-worth for approval. They confuse availability with value, vulnerability with oversharing, and kindness with submission. But the man who commands respect understands something deeper. He doesn't chase it. He becomes the kind of man who lives it. In this video, we'll explore 6 boundaries that quietly demand respect, not through control, but through inner conviction. These boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about protecting what truly matters: your soul, your peace, and your presence. Let's get into it. 1. Never reward. Disrespect. Disrespect rarely announces itself. It slips in quietly. A joke that stings, a dismissive glance, a moment where you feel belittled but stay silent to keep the peace. And in that silence, something shifts. You teach her, without a word, that your boundaries are optional. But a Stoic man knows that respect dies not with a scream, but with a shrug. He doesn't need to raise his voice or issue ultimatums. He simply sets the line, once, clearly. And if it's crossed, he acts. Calmly, decisively. Not to punish, but to preserve his dignity. When you tolerate disrespect to avoid discomfort, you trade your self-worth for a temporary sense of peace. And once you do that enough times, you stop recognizing yourself. A woman may love many things about you, but she will only respect a man who respects himself, especially when it's inconvenient. So when a moment comes that tests your line, don't hesitate. Hold it. Not because you want to win the moment, but because you refuse to lose yourself. Respect isn't reclaimed through apology or gifts. It's protected. One silent, unwavering stand at a time. 2. Guard your peace like a fortress. Peace isn't just a feeling. It's a foundation. And without it, everything else collapses. You can't lead with clarity, love with strength, or make decisions with purpose if your mind is constantly under siege. A Stoic man doesn't give his peace away freely. He protects it like a fortress, built slowly, guarded daily. He knows that every argument entered, every distraction entertained, every toxic interaction tolerated, drains his power. So he becomes selective. He doesn't answer every text. He doesn't show up to every debate. He steps back, not out of fear, but out of focus. When you carry true peace, people feel it. You don't need to speak loudly. Your presence calms storms, and she'll sense it too. Not because you control her, but because you control yourself. The world respects the man who isn't constantly reacting, who isn't ruled by noise, who stands still when others spiral. Guard your peace like it's sacred, because it is. Without it, you're just another man chasing attention, With it, you become the one everyone trusts when things fall apart. That's the kind of power no one can fake and no woman forgets. 3. Speak less, reveal less, mean more. In a world where everyone overshares, the man who holds something back becomes unforgettable. A stoic man doesn't hide who he is. He reveals it slowly, intentionally. Like a well-written novel, he doesn't give away the ending in the first chapter. He lets her earn the pages. Most men think connection comes from emotional dumping, confessing every fear, every past wound, every thought that crosses their mind. But that only overwhelms. It doesn't build attraction, it builds pressure. Women don't fall for projects. They fall for presence. For the calm, composed man who holds space without begging to be seen. When you speak less, what you say carries weight. When you reveal less, she leans in, not because she's confused, but because she's curious. Mystery isn't manipulation. It's emotional maturity. You don't owe full access to your inner world. Your depth isn't a brochure. It's a treasure. And only those who've earned trust should hold it. The less you spill, the more she feels. The less you chase understanding, the more she wants to understand you. Speak when it strengthens. Share when it deepens. Let silence work in your favor. 4. Control your emotional triggers. Anyone can be calm when things go their way. But the true test of a man is how he responds when pressure hits, when she pulls away, when someone disrespects him, when his ego gets challenged. How most men react. They chase, they argue, they try to fix what was never theirs to carry. But the stoic man pauses. He breathes. He observes without flinching. Because he knows the power is in the pause. That sacred space between stimulus and response is where strength is built. A reactive man is easy to manipulate. You say the right word, he explodes. You withdraw affection, he begs. But the man who controls his emotions doesn't shut down. He simply refuses to be moved by every gust of wind. His calm is not emptiness, it's rootedness. And that presence changes everything. A woman doesn't test you to break you. She tests to find your center. If you crumble, she loses trust. But if you remain still, she leans closer. Not because you forced her, but because you've become a safe place in a stormy world. You don't have to fight for control. You just have to stop giving it away. 5. Walk away. When it's time. There's a moment every man faces, the moment when staying costs more than leaving. And yet, too many stay. In relationships that drain them. In jobs that break their spirit. In friendships where they're only tolerated, not valued. Not because they believe in the situation, but because they fear the unknown. But the stoic man knows. The ability to walk away is the highest form of self-respect. He doesn't stay for comfort. He stays for alignment. And when that alignment fades, he moves on. Quietly, calmly. Not to hurt others, but to protect his own soul. This is not weakness. It's sacred strength. The man who can walk away doesn't need control, because he already has it within. Women can feel this. They know when you're staying from strength, or clinging from fear. The man who clings invites tests. But the one who can leave, he earns quiet respect. because walking away says, I won't betray myself to be loved. And that kind of resolve is magnetic. You don't walk away to prove a point. You walk away because you know who you are, and you'll never sacrifice that just to be accepted. 6. Make your time. Expensive. Time is the most valuable thing you own, and how you spend it reveals how you see yourself. Most men give it away too easily. They answer every message instantly. They show up for people who drain them. They explain themselves to those who never cared to understand. But the Stoic man moves differently. He treats his time like currency. He spends it with purpose. He doesn't rush to reply, not because he's playing games, but because he's intentional. He doesn't attend every argument he's invited to. He doesn't fix what others broke. His time is expensive because his focus is rare. And that rarity is what makes him attractive. A woman can sense when a man is chasing validation, and when he's building something bigger. And when your time has weight, your presence has value. You stop proving yourself. You stop showing up just to be liked. You start choosing yourself over and over again, not from ego, but from clarity. Because a man who protects his time protects his energy. And a man who protects his energy becomes the kind of man no one forgets. Respect begins where compromise ends. Respect doesn't come from demanding it. It comes from living like you already have it. The men who are respected most don't raise their voices or plead for attention. They move through life with quiet conviction. Every boundary you hold is a mirror, reflecting who you believe you are. The way you protect your peace, your time, your emotional center, it all sends a message. This is my standard, and I will not lower it to be accepted. In a world that rewards men for being agreeable, available, and soft-spoken, the man who holds the line stands out. Not as a rebel, but as a man who refuses to betray himself. These 6 boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about drawing in those who see your worth without needing you to prove it. And when you live this way, women don't just like you. They respect you. They feel your presence before you speak. So ask yourself, where have I been bending? Where have I been silent when I should have stood tall? The answer isn't in doing more, it's in choosing better, starting now. Drop a comment below. I choose self-respect. And if this message spoke to you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join us here at Ancient Stoic Secrets, where modern men rise by returning to timeless truths. Until next time, stand tall, stay calm, and live like a man who commands respect without ever asking for it.